Good morning, everybody. My name is Brock Zevan. We do this every Monday through Friday. Thursday is special day, Stump the Chump Day. I'm a life coach, business coach, father, real estate. Good morning, Elizabeth. Guys, I had a phenomenal time in Detroit. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Got around to be around some amazing people. It is not very often that I could even say I had an opportunity to meet and sit down with a billionaire. Actually, I think it is the first time I even had an opportunity to speak to a billionaire. It just amazes me on just the mindset. And I was talking to Christian this morning. Him and I do our mindset, our role play call. And the guy just with purpose every minute of every day. And I think I have that. And boy, he just blows it out of the water. So with that being said, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here. We do this every Monday through Friday, as I mentioned. And today's quote is one of those that I'm going to reflect on a little bit of yesterday, bring that in and share with you a little bit about what's happened with me in the last 24 hours. And the quote is this. The question isn't who's going to let me. It's who's going to stop me. I'm going to say it again. Ayn Rand is the one who did it too. A-Y-N, Rand. The question isn't who's going to let me. It's who's going to stop me. And for those of you in that perspective, I want you to think about what that line says, because the line says, when it says, who's going to let me, is thinking who's outside of my control, who's the other people. No. It says at the very end, it's who's going to stop me. And in stopping me, it's inside my own brain is how I looked at it when I read it this morning. And I share this with you because some of you that email me, text me first thing in the morning. Okay, there's several of you. I have about 4 people between 5 o'clock and 5:15. And you didn't text me this morning. And when I reached out to you, Pamela was one of them. And she was really cute this morning when she said it to me. But I like literally every person who I texted this morning, and I was like, hey, where are you? Their comment was, I didn't want to bother you because I knew you got in really late. So by the time I got home, it was 12:30 at night. And by the time I tucked my kids into bed, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. And at the time period, I kissed my kids goodnight. They both woke up, and they normally don't. And so I was just like, oh gosh, why are they up? Oh no, what did I do? And so Bryce gets up, pops up, gives me a hug. Brielle gets up, Daddy, I love you. Good night. And it was such an exciting thing, but I was all worried about it at the time period. Like, oh my gosh, I hope they go back to bed. I didn't realize what God was doing to me at that very moment at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Why he had the kids get up was because at 4:35, when my alarm went off, I slept for 3.5 hours. And when the people texted me, I didn't want to text you to wake you up. I said, no, that's when I need you the most. Not when life's easy, not when life's blissful, not when paychecks are coming in, not when I slept 8 hours a day, not when life is very jubilant, my kids went to bed and nobody gets, it's when I barely slept. And in our lives, it's when we need people around us, when we are tired, when things aren't going very well, when bills come in, the IRS my car just suddenly went out. These are the moments when we need people to step up and say, hey, no, get your ass up, get your tail in gear, because this is when we need you, because who's going to stop me is only me. Nobody else will. And when time comes, and when I was able to be around these type of people, the guy that I was able to sit down and talk to is 45 years old. He was coached and played with Mike Izzo from Michigan State. He took his father's business and turned into a $1 billion company. And his dad's business was peanuts, working out of his house. And he took his competitive spirit, and one of the people asked him a question. He's got over 10,000 people employed, and then we were able to ask questions. And one of the questions was, and Mike Castor, you're really going to love this, because Wendy looked at me and says, oh boy, The question is what drives you? What gets you going in the morning? Because you're a billionaire, so it's not money. And him and I had very similar stories because he's got kids, he's going through a divorce, and I was just like, oh gosh, I don't have a goal to be a billionaire. I don't. My goal is to be a millionaire. And when he answered the question, and for those that know me pretty well, here's was his answer. What drives you, Matt? He says, I love it. You ready? I love it when people tell me no and I can't do something. I get goosebumps when it happens. Wendy looked at me with a smile on my face and she goes, oh boy. Because you know how many times people have told me no? You know how many times people told me when I lost my real estate license and says, well, you got to go back to teaching because you can't do real estate. I said, thank you. That's all I needed to hear. And when that guy, Matt, said that, that lit a fire underneath me. Hopefully it lights a fire underneath you, whatever your vision and your goals are. Because what God did to me last night for my kids to get them up was he did that right then and there, because at 4:35 when my alarm went off, I wanted zero to do with getting up. But it was seeing Bryce and Brielle's face reaction then, and I kind of like get emotional because I smile because I was like, that's why you did that. That's why you had him get up. Not because I was selfishly worried because they were going to be up. It was it was God's way of saying, like, you're going to need this in about 3.5 hours when that alarm goes off, because you need to push yourself. Because when the quote says, on the exact same day, the question is who's going to let me? It's who's going to stop me. And the only person at 4:35 in the morning, there's nobody saying, hey, Brock, go back to bed. You're still tired. It's only inside my head. So how many of you have these things inside your head that people tell you no and people tell you you can't? Bring it. I love it. And yes, money is part of it because we're not billionaires. And it might not be our goal, but it might be to make $100,000 this year in real estate. It might be to make $250,000. It might be to make $500,000. It might be for whatever it is that you have your goals for. You better have them written down, because you know what Matt said to us yesterday? I put it in the quote on one of the Facebook posts, so go back and look at it. He goes, those that want to be successful in the next 6 months, not in the next year, not in the next 2 years. He said those in the next 6 months, so you finish off 2022, said you outwork everybody else around you. You outgrind them, you outwork them, you out-hustle them, you get up earlier, you stay up later. The man walks with a purpose. Like, I can't even tell you what took place yesterday when I saw him walk. And I said, damn, there's not too many people just by watching them walk that they got purpose. And this man had purpose. And Christian and I were talking, and I said, man, I might have purpose for 4 hours, but then I take I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I get hungry, and then I get a little distracted, and then I have purpose again, and then lunch will take place, and then for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, my purpose will run dry again, because if I don't have literally every schedule blocked off like I do on my calendar, my purpose goes out the door. So I challenge you today, and in conclusion, what's your purpose? Do you have purpose every hour of every day? And it's okay if you don't. So I'm not being like, well, Brock, I don't want purpose all the time. You don't have to. But I'm asking to give you 50% purpose of the day. Okay? The other 50% for most of us, hopefully maybe it's only 33%. Hopefully you're sleeping less than 8 hours a day. Because if you're driven and you're on this call, then sleeping 8 hours a day is too much. It's a quarter of your day. And for those that want to be successful, you better start sleeping less, because you have to sleep 6 hours a day. And if it doesn't fit for you, then just adjust your goals. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just reality. can't sleep a quarter of your day. So for those that I am speaking to, is to understand when they say, who's stopping me? I want you to look in the mirror, because that's the only person, because when your alarm goes off, there's not 17 hands hitting the snooze button. There's only one hand typically. So what does that look like for you? Are you walking with purpose? For those that are writing things down, what's my purpose? In my book that I'm writing, My Mess to Success, it's a pain, purpose, plan is the formula, and purpose is right there in the middle. And my purpose when I was in so much pain was to make sure that there was no other man going to walk my daughter down the aisle. There was no other man who's going to give my son a high five at graduation. That's Brock's purpose. What's your purpose? For those that are on here, the Braden, Christian, Claudia, Darius, for those that are on Facebook Live listening to me, what is your purpose? Denzel Washington and Mike Kastner sent this to me. He said in here, he goes, I've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. What are you leaving on the table today? What are you leaving out there that you could be using? Because you can't take it with you guys. All right, I'm done. That's what I got. All right, I just get heated up sometimes. When you're around that, that's why they say synergy is so important. It's such a huge component. For those of you on Facebook world, let me know what you think. Send me a heart, send me a like, give me a thumbs up, put a comment in there. For those that are in my Zoom world, you guys do the same thing. The chat box is open there. It is Stump the Chump time period, so I'm going to open it up for anybody who's got something that they think that they like to share, something they want to add, maybe a question from where I was. I was around some millionaires. I was around a billionaire yesterday. I was around high-level people, high-level thinking. It was such an honor. They brought me in a room and they say, Brock, what do you think about this? I got asked to be on a podcast. I got asked to do like what my vision was and what I thought and how I would do it. That doesn't happen. One of the lines that they gave me was, you rather be consistently good than occasionally great. And I love that line. I'm going to say it again. Rather be consistently good than occasionally great. And I thought that was a phenomenal line. And for people to ask that to me and ask me my thoughts, that doesn't happen being occasionally great. I have to be consistently good and doing this for years to have people say to me, Brock, tell me what you think. Tell me what that means. What would you do differently? And it was kind of like, because when you're not in that position very often, when these millionaires are asking me these questions and they say, damn, that's a really, Lauren, come on over here. You got to listen to this guy. I'm around a table now of several people asking me my thoughts. And I share that with you, not to impress you, but to tell you to be consistently good. I'm nothing special, guys. I just learned to be consistently good and not occasionally great. All right, I still can keep going, but who's got something for me? Anybody at all? Well, I have a little something to sip on. Thank you, Claudia, for your comment. Thank you for the likes and for the thumbs up. Anybody got anything? Anybody role play? Anybody want to ask me anything? Now, it just like that guy, Matt. He's like, ask away, guys. Here's your chance.
I've got a question. Nobody else wants to jump up?
What's up, Christian?
Not much. So, I'm kind of just interested in hearing more about this conference you went to, and maybe, obviously, it sounds like the stuff you talked about today was a big takeaway from you. But maybe one or two of your top like practical applications that you're gonna, drawing a blank on the word, but put into your daily routine or your daily life. Like, what's something you took away that you're going to apply to your life?
So really good question. So like in what I'm hearing you say is what is your aha? What is something that I can apply to today? And you and I had an earlier conversation and something that I like literally I wrote down in my book here. I was reading it, and it says, I wrote down, don't stop, find a way, figure it out, be a sponge to learning. So one of the things that Matt said when he was talking to us was like, literally, like, don't accept no, don't accept I can't. Those type of things, like one of the things they were talking to, because there was lenders there, obviously, and one of the real estate agents out there said, like, what is it that lenders want? What do real estate agents want from lenders? And it was basically stating, like, don't tell us they can't. Don't tell us, well, they can't get approved. Okay, they might not get approved on July 28th, but here's the plan, and they can get approved on January 3rd, and here's the process that we can do that. I took that same exact concept and I put it into life, and what we talked about today is one of the things I literally am applying today is be purposeful more than I was yesterday. And part of it is, well, what does that mean, Brock? I don't really know 100%. But I can break it down by 30-minute increments is what Brock's inside my head feels is like, okay, I'm going to break it down in 30-minute increments. So like if you were to see my calendar, it has basically from 4:30 in the morning all the way right now to about 8:30 at night. That is my work schedule today. I'm being a little bit more purposeful, and I'm applying an hour earlier and I'm applying an hour later in my day. And be like, well, what the hell, Brock? And you and I talked about when you're walking your dogs earlier this morning, Christian, and you weren't removing anything, you were replacing it and adjusting it. So the thing that I would tell people today is adjust your calendar. Change it up. Figure out a way to be more purposeful. And you might not have to, like I told you don't have to be purposeful 12 hours a day. Okay, break it down that I'm going to be purposeful during 2 hours in the morning, and I'm going to be 2 hours in the afternoon is what I would going to be purposeful. And my biggest problem right now is being purposeful between 12 and 2:30. That is like one of the biggest things that I would say that I'm going to do, and is going to be tighten down my schedule, not because of the lack of what I have on it, but being purposeful of my calendar and the why behind it, and also looking to see what my return on investment is. Because you guys hear me say my rocking chair versus my wheelchair, I don't make money in a rocking chair, and I need to be purposeful during my money making times. So that was one of the biggest things that I took, as well as the consistently good, not occasionally great. I'm still developing what that is, except consistently on a daily basis, and I'm that now, but I got to become better at it on the money making, the things that produce. One of the coaches that I'm listening to right now is Coach Burt, and he is teaching me that. I was telling Wendy, like, I said, Coach Burt left me a voice message. Like, he's a YouTube guru, guys. He has like 9,000 followers, like a guru's been in the industry for 20 years. And to be able to have him on my cell phone and to leave me a voice, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy, like, I hear his voice on YouTube all, but now to have him on my phone was such a cool thing. But it's being purposeful of being like, I got to be around higher level people. So being purposeful for whoever you need to be around to get to where you want to grow. And notice I didn't say go, I said grow. So great question, Christian. Hopefully that helped you out on that. Is consistency a better purpose than trying to hit a home run? Yes, 100%. We talked about Derek Jeter yesterday. There's actually a story out there that we talked about called The Captain. Great movie out there. I guess it's a flick. I don't know. I got to learn it because I didn't know about it. But I know Derek Jeter. But Derek Jeter and how the consistently good was, Derek Jeter wasn't a freaking all-star, guys. He wasn't like one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, he did. But he was consistent. He had a consistent batting average for 20 years. He had the highest time period of games played. He only had 2 seasons less than 150 games, and they play 162. He was consistently good across the board. And to me, when it says consistently is better purpose than trying to hit a home run, Derek Jeter is it. Go study Derek Jeter. This guy knew every stat on Derek Jeter. just like I know stats on Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson during his prime, Buster Douglas. If you don't know the story of Buster Douglas, I mean, these are athletes and people that I study and pay attention to. Henry Ford, Abraham Lincoln, presidents of the United States, and study them and learn them. And if not, just, I guess I talk about them all the time, so you can just listen to me too, I guess, if you want. But consistently good is such a thing that I definitely took away from. Great question, Kristen. And thank you, Greg, for your question on Facebook. Anybody else have anything that they would like to share or say this morning? Moneyball, yes, Christian. Yeah, Moneyball was a very, very good one too, about being that. I remember watching that movie too. Good one. All right, guys. Awesome. Well, it was 8:38 for those in Facebook world. Thank you so much. For those that watch the recording later, please feel free to write in comments, put in whether you like it. One of the things that I've learned too, as a coach and somebody that speaks like this, feedback and engagement's great, guys. Whether you like what I said, didn't like, I don't like. It's great to be able to have engagement, and Facebook and this Zoom has allowed us this opportunity. And at first it was challenging that first week, we all remember, but I have so many more compliments and comments and engagement now with Facebook to be able to, so you can see me, you could actually see all my body movement, my craziness that I do. And it's great to see your faces. So one of the things I'm going to encourage people is to show up on the Zoom and show me your faces and put yourself out there. Braden and Christian today definitely. Pamela, you typically on here as well as Greg. And if you're driving, I get it, but it's great to be able to see it. It's great for those that are on Facebook to engage and tell me what you got going on and that sort of thing, and feel what I have, because I enjoy it. It gets me fired up as well. So Facebook world, have a great day.